Hey everybody, and welcome back to another awesome episode of Evisceradio YouTube series, where I sit down one-on-one with the people behind the music that I appreciate, and we talk about all the cool, genuine stuff, like what's good in life, what's good in the music, and everything else in between. It's a guaranteed good time, and I just look forward to doing this stuff on the regular, and I hope you can get that through the videos that I hope you watch. On this episode, I got something real sweet lined up. Another band I've been looking forward to talking to forever. It is a band from the Netherlands, a thrash metal outfit called Cryptosis. Look at it. They're one album deep called Bionic Swarm, and it is what I consider to be one of the best examples of modern thrash that you can find out today. It is fantastic. It is smart, well thought out, very intricate, well put together. It's been a few years in the making before it was actually released, so it just goes to show that these guys are serious about the product they put out. In fact, it is so damn good, you should stop watching this video right now, hit the links in the description, and go check yourself out some Cryptosis post haste, and then come back and watch the interview. Being a death metal fan, it's very refreshing and really cool to know that there are bands like Cryptosis who reintroduce a very vital and important part of extreme metal music and let you know that there's all kinds of awesome music through the whole extreme metal spectrum. Thank you so much, Cryptosis. So yeah, sit down, relax, and enjoy what I'm sure is going to be a very cool-ass conversation. Cryptosis. Yeah. Good to finally sit down with you, man. I've been looking forward to doing this for a bit.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's nice to finally have you sit down. How's life? How's things going on over there?
Yeah, great. Really great. Like, I just got home from playing a concert last night. So, yeah, it's pretty good, you know. Feels pretty good to be on stage again after 2 years and, you know.
I imagine. You guys probably got some rabid fans checking those shows out now, man. Everyone is flying for getting tickets and going to see some live entertainment.
Yeah, but there's so much concerts going on right now. It's insane.
So much chaos, you said.
No, I mean concerts. Like on Monday there's Iron Maiden, you know. On Tuesday there's this band. On Wednesday that band, you know. And we're living in the Netherlands, and you know it's a pretty small country. But then there's so much to do, you know. So we'll see how the industry will develop with this, you know.
Well, I'm very confident that, like, after this whole huge time off with the world taking a big pause, that anyone who misses the live shows, whether it's music or theater or whatever the case, is going to be clamoring to go see some stuff. I'm personally confident that like the whole live entertainment thing as a whole is just going to take right off, and is probably going to stick around for a long time.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, it would be great.
Yeah,
are you able to check out shows on yourself, like for your own personal time, or are you like on stage romping around right now doing your own thing?
Yeah, we are really focused now on the band, but I've been to some festivals and they were really nice. But they're more like smaller festivals, you know, like 1,000, 2,000 people.
Yeah.
But it was great.
Yeah. Those are my favorite types to go to too. I like the smaller, intimate setting type stuff. Where, like, you know, you can kind of really make a connection with a band. I'm actually kind of in the middle of a break from checking a whole series of shows out in the Toronto area, and I had to take a step back before I started to burn myself out because it was sort of conflicting with work a little bit. But once I recharge my batteries a little bit, there's a couple of shows coming in July that I can't wait to go see. So again, like, cool. I can't wait to get out there and do more shows, man. So I'm glad people are really receptive to checking out live shows and checking out your live shows. I've seen some YouTube stuff going around and what you've been posting. Like, you guys put on a mean show. Holy shit.
Yeah. Well, you know, there was some time to prepare it, and so we took the advantage of the pandemic, and we worked really hard, but you know, behind the scenes, and yeah, now everything is going back open, and you know, we have prepared some cool stuff.
Yeah, no, that's actually an interesting thing to say. Like, during the whole pause, you guys took a look at how your live shows go down, and you're like, in terms of what your presentation, or like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, no, we used to play like 50 shows a year, something like that, every year, and then We recorded a new album, and before we wanted to, we presented it to some labels, but we weren't certain of our band name, so we changed the band name as well because people could know us from Distillator. That's our previous band.
Yeah.
But there was like thrash metal, super 80s old school stuff. Nothing really. It didn't bring any new stuff to the table, so to speak. And so we had this album, we sent it to labels, then the pandemic started. We got in contact with Century Media. They offered us quite a nice deal. So, our imagination started, flowing like, oh, we got this money. What can we do with it? And, and from one thing came the other. And we just started thinking really big. And now we're trying to, how can we manage this, in smaller venues, in big venues, like make it more flexible. So that's what we did, and we also had to change the band name, but we also are like a registered company, so we had to change all the legal stuff and have to make like video clips and all that stuff. So it was a really intense process, making a new logo, website, merchandise. Like we had to do everything from scratch in probably 1 year, half a year.
Yeah, no joke. It paid off, man. It paid off. Like Bionic Swarm's been out for almost a year now, and like it's still getting like hot talk around my own personal social circle too. Like cool. Let me be the first to well, I'm probably not the first to congratulate you, but like, well done, man. Like Bionic Swarm is a kick-ass modern thrash thing. Like it brought me back to the genre. It's such an interesting, dope music to like just have in the collection, and I pride myself on my collection. I've been rocking your guys' stuff for like the last year. I found I found you guys like when COVID hit. I like did like a big music purchase kind of thing, and like yours was I found you guys out on like a review site, and and it showed up amongst the first pile of CDs through the mailbox, and it was been on top of the pile like ever since. And I wanted to say that I've been going through your guys' interviews in preparation for this one, or sit down here. And one of the things that you had mentioned was that like the timing of getting on the label and releasing the album was not so advantageous to you guys because like everything just sort of stopped like dead. And I can definitely see where you're coming from with that, but I'm not. And as a fan, I'm not entirely sure I agree, just for the fact that like you're with the world taking a stop and people such as myself, like, kind of looking for ways to comfort and like, keep the mind going and stuff like that. We turn to music, and it's not very often where you can have like all your distractions like work and whatever the case may be being pulled away from you, and you have to turn to other devices. Again, in my case, it was music with the whole CD purchase and everything, and yours showing up on my desk. And it offered a very awesome, unique opportunity to get very critical with the music, the new music that I'm bringing into my life. And since again yours was at the top of the pile, and so for how interesting the music has been on Bionic Swarm, it really allowed me to like really dissect and get into something super interesting. And now it's still like revealing cool new things to me. And I just wanted to say again, like there's some thought that went into that record, man. Holy shit. Well done.
Yeah, we have been working on it for I think 2 or 3 years straight, like 5 days a week.
Yeah, man, it shows. Yeah. It is well put together. It's well put together. Yeah, we're all really lucky. We're looking forward to whenever the second one comes out. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's a big. I would say this. It's a big. It's a high level that we have to do better. The next time. So it takes some time to write new stuff and. But like you said, the way you experience this music, that was also our luck because, we're signed by Century Media, and those guys, they are super busy. They get tons of emails from new bands every week. And so this pandemic started, we sent out a few demos to a few labels, and then some labels, they wrote us back saying like, yeah, we sent people home. We're not going to sign any new bands right now. This was like 2020 March,
That's like the month that everything that sucks.
We got the masters, and maybe like 5 days later, this pandemic started. Like
Ugh.
for us, it was like we had this big dream, and then everything turned to shit. But Century Media actually had like more time to listen to new stuff, and so that's why we came through on their side. And this company director really liked the album, and yeah, he just got in contact with us, and yeah, when we left, when we didn't have any expectations anymore, then they started sending us emails. So that was really a big motivation during all the lockdowns and stuff.
I bet, man, that must have lit a fire under your ass, man. Like, wow,
yeah.
like no joke. Like when they were saying that they were like letting people go and cutting down the music that they were taking in, like, was there like how much time between that happening and them continuing to contact you went by? Like, where like you guys must have been like, fuck, like, what are we gonna do, and then like, did you have any kind of recourse in mind? I know a number of bands that went through the same thing, and like you guys, like, they reached right back out, but like there had to have been a period where you're like, fuck,
No, this was just like in a matter of like 10, 15 days. Like like the one day we got the album, the next day it was a pandemic. Then like we tried to send out all the demos,
yeah.
And people just writing us back immediately, and like it was a really harsh time for like for my nerve system,
Yeah,
it was
no,
like
sure.
every day was like really high, like high peaks, and really the big disappointments, because you work on this album for so many time, you sacrifice like everything, friends, family, girlfriends, etc.
Yep.
And then this happened. So that was, yeah, for us it was really really intense 2 weeks.
Yeah, no joke, but at least it was only 2 weeks, man.
Yeah.
So, the whole album itself, was that a collaborative effort to put things together? Like, I'm not sure what goes on in terms of your like songwriting progress, other than something I want to talk about a little bit later, which is like your riff book or riff storyboard kind of thing, which I found very interesting. But like, before going down that road, like, I don't know much about Distillator either. But like, was the songwriting process sort of similar to what was going on then? Did it carry over with Bionic Swarm?
Yeah, basically we are the same band, like the exact same band members, and we work quite in the same way. The only difference is that when we had this old band, we just tried to write songs that sounded good, or like sounded like the things that we liked. But this time we just tried to write songs that were like super challenging for us, like musically, and we had to really practice to get the parts right, before we entered the studio. And the bar was very high, and this time we just wanted to write music that that we love and that we maybe like in 10 years, still like it. And with this old band, we played so many shows, and after like you play like 100 concerts, you just don't like the music not so much anymore, And we wanted to try to take out this element in our music.
Yeah, no, cool. It definitely shows that you guys put like a lot of heart and soul into it, and like took a crazy like sacrificial approach to it, as it were. I hope that the challenge to whatever the new product or the new album might be will like be just as challenging, because if Bionic Swarm is an example of you guys challenging yourselves, and you must keep doing that, because it turned out really good. The song structures and your transitions in all of the songs off that album are super interesting and very non-linear. And this brings me to the riff storyboard question kind of thing. I write myself. I don't play a lot of metal stuff. I'm more of an acoustic thing. I got like a singer-songwriter kind of deal going on here. But personally speaking, like my songs like start off of a riff, like a bridge, for example, and then it sort of works backwards and forwards through that. Whereas you had said that there's sort of like a bank of riffs that you guys come up with, or yourself personally come up with, and then you piece them together with other riffs that are in that bank, and you know, it kind of works out from there. I've never really attempted that approach before, and I've been kind of looking for like a new way to be constructive in that sense. Was that something before, even like when you were just starting to play instruments and getting into writing? Was that something that you sort of naturally found yourself in, or were there other techniques that you went through in order to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've always recorded my songs, you know, whenever I was in a other band, or you know, when I was growing up. From a very young age, I think like 18 years old, like many years ago, you know, I just bought a computer or a laptop, you know, interface, and I just started recording stuff. And you know, it wasn't really that great at the time, but you know, it just helps me to show my ideas, you know, to other band members. And so when Lawrence and me, we started this band in 2013. We started with that too, but he didn't know anything about it, you know. So I learned him a few basics, and just, you know, he bought some stuff and he started doing that stuff himself too. And he, you know, along the way he progressed in skills, and he got better. And now we, you know, we're like pretty much on the same level. But we're like you said, we're not really we work like this, you know, like with a big library that we just create ourselves. But it's not like we just use 100% of the material that's in there, you know. Like for example, last year I got a really nice melody, or something, you know, that can be used as a chorus.
Mm-hmm.
We put it in there, but you know, we forget about it. We just put everything that we have, you know, we work it out. We put a drum computer to it, you know, maybe some synthesizers, some stuff,
Sure.
maybe a bit of an intro or whatever, you know, to show like, okay, you can do this with a riff, or you know, it's more like based on the groove or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we just yeah, we have like a really one folder, and we put everything in there, just like it's called a riff or whatever. And then maybe after a year, 1.5 year, Lawrence and me, we going to sit together, and we're just going to play every riff, and we give them a number from 1 to 10. You know, 10 is like fantastic, 0 is trash. So after that, we put those in different subfolders, and we name the track, you know, with the BPM, with the key, with the scale, whatever. It's there, you know, like maybe it's a dark melodic chorus in G minor, 150 BPM. It's
Yeah, gotcha.
Title track. So whenever we write the song, and you know, we got an intro, we got a chorus, but we need a verse. We just think about it, you know, we just record a new one when we were busy with it, or we're just going to browse in the folder and say, okay, we need a verse riff that's for example in F or E.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're just going to browse first E, and we got all the stuff there. But sometimes you also have to think about you know, like you have a very rhythmic chorus, for example, then you have to make a contrast, and you have, you know, you need like a chords in the first. So we're just going to browse E minor chords, and with the BPM, you know, sometimes it's you know, you can speed something up, lower it, and you know, that's how we find sometimes a very nice you know, stuff that we didn't know we had.
Yeah, absolutely. Like sometimes a quick change in time signature, or like up in the tempo, really does help. It just occurred to me as you had said that too, like being able to like dump riffs into a space kind of frees up your brain for other things that you might tackle too. I never even considered that, because like my big failing is like I just get cluttered with storing, I guess, all up in here. And I didn't think about, you know, literally releasing it, or like releasing it from my brain, putting it somewhere else.
But you got a phone, you know, like you play acoustic guitar, you put your phone on your leg, you know, you just play a simple melody, put it on Google Drive, easy as it is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I am gonna start doing that. I'm hung up on a couple of tracks where I'm about like 95% of the way through, and I'm in that tinkering mode where you're never really progressing.
Yeah.
A lot of the songs on Bionic Swarm, like they're so intricate and changed, and the nuances are so crazy. Do you find yourself? How do you get past that 95% to like 100%? Like, do you find yourself in that dick around mode where you're just like, you know, it's done, but it's not quite, and therein lies you knowing that it's done, or does it? You guys just have like a set, like, I know when this is finished, and then you can move on?
Yeah, Lawrence and me, we are the only songwriters, and so I'm working on stuff, he's working on stuff, but we also come to each other's studio and work on his stuff or my stuff, you know. And yeah, there's just we just work on one song. When it's finished, we move on to the next one. This time we're working on a few different ideas, but still, you know, it's like maybe 1, 2, 3 songs max. But we don't work on 10 songs at the same time, you know.
Sure.
And that really helps because if you're working for 2 months on one song, you know, you have to move on. So, you know,
Yeah.
then you listen to the song and you hear, you know, what's wrong and or what's missing, or maybe some most of the time, you know, there's too much stuff and you have to take something out. And yeah, it just you know, like I don't know, one moment that we're saying, okay, this is cool, you know,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
the song, we're going to rehearse it, and let's start with this idea of, or I got this rhythm or whatever, and we start with a new one.
Did you find yourself getting too far down that path and having to pull away in order to complete a song?
Yeah, sometimes you put a song aside, you know, maybe for a few months and then come back to it. I think it was the case with the song Prospect of Immortality and Flux Divergence. I wrote like maybe half of the song, but didn't, you know, really had an idea that, you know, so what's next? We need a new chapter in the song, but yeah, where should it go? I don't know. And then one day Lawrence came to my studio. I just played him the song. He really liked it, and I think we finished the song in one day.
Yeah, no joke, no joke. Yeah, these are some really healthy habits you have here. I'm gonna have to adopt a couple of these if you don't mind. I really did want to pick your brain specifically about those because I am in a bit of like a what do I do next? You know what I mean? So I appreciate the advice.
And we also listen to music in different situations than studio. So, for example, when we're in the car, you know, driving to, I don't know, visiting some friends or family, or go after a concert or whatever, you know, we have a few friends that are really close to us and also are musicians and engineers and you know, like a professional artist. And we just you know, we hang out with them and just play a new song that we are writing on, and you know, we just listen to what they have to say about it.
Yeah,
sometimes
right on.
It's really helpful feedback. Sometimes they, you know, they don't get exactly what we're trying to do, so you know, then we're on the wrong path, and yeah, you know, it's really helpful feedback. And but they don't say like, yeah, you have to put this chorus here, or you know, like, not this stupid kind of feedback, but they just,
sure,
you know, like the overall concept. You know, is it clear what we're trying to say with the song? You know, is it too technical? Stuff like that, you know?
Yeah. It really adds to the longevity of a song having staying power. Yeah. I all the music that I digest on this show specifically is I put it in rooms where the stimulus is different. Like I go to the gym. You guys are like on the playlist for sure. Driving in a car to work, where it's sort of like I'm paying attention to something else while you're in the background, that kind of stuff, and just see how it sort of sits in my day to day, whatever I'm doing, and all the attention that I can give it through all of those, to me, means that it is like, you know, a fantastic piece of work, you know, whether it's whatever album it is. Me handing songs off to other people is another thing that I do like to practice. Sometimes I feel like I'm a little bit too personally attached to it. So I think I need to be a little bit more like, not that I'm not receptive to ideas or to criticisms, but like, you know, like sometimes the feedback, always the feedback is something we really want to pay attention to. So that's how you progress as a musician.
And don't fall in love with your own song. I think that's probably at least when you're writing it, you know, I think that's the biggest challenge. It's hard, but I think that's really important because
Wow.
If you fall in love with the song, you're not like you said, you're not open to feedback anymore, or you don't want to change stuff, and don't listen to it too much before it's yeah, how to say this, don't listen to the song too much before you have like 70% of the song, for example. Like if you listen to first, let's say, intro and first too much, it's hard to come up with something that's interesting as a chorus, because you're too much in the music already.
Yeah, no
At
joke.
least for me, it worked like that.
No, for sure. That translates over to me too. Huh.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. Again, man, your advice, holy shit. Do you talk about this shit with a number of people? Because it sounds very learned.
No, man, I'm not. I don't have any musical education or whatsoever.
No,
I just learned by doing.
Just started playing
yeah,
it.
that's why it took me so long, to finally get a good album.
Hey, well, I mean, it worked. Let me tell you, it worked. Yeah. I think you started off just like everyone else did, playing in the bedroom, that kind of stuff, and being around like-minded people and that kind of thing,
Yeah, and you don't play in bands and venues that you think like, okay, this is a venue, like
yeah,
just start from the bottom and just try to get better and find better musicians and try to write better music. And yeah, also when we write the music, we also show the music to somebody that's totally not into this kind of music that we're doing, or doesn't have the vocabulary to say what's wrong with the music. Like when you show a song to a producer, he just instantly say, you go from this note to that note, you have to change the half step, whatever, and it sounds perfect.
yeah.
But if you show it to somebody that doesn't know anything about it, that gives really really helpful feedback.
It's hilarious you mentioned that. Evisceradio. I have a like a 2-hour radio show that's live today actually, and there's a new segment that myself and a friend just started on that show. His name's Alan, and it's called Al the Non-Metal Guy, and he does not listen to this shit at all. He's like, he just doesn't listen to that stuff. We grew up together, so the rapport is really good, but he just doesn't listen to it. And we did our last show on that last Sunday, and it turned out hilarious. The feedback was really, really good. We're going to do another one after our sit down today because it was that entertaining. And he kind of just goes through the record collection, which is right in front of me here, and like I can educate him a little bit and like not try and turn him to this music, because sometimes people just can't be like you either love it or you don't, you know what I mean? At least in my experience. But it's a hilarious formula. I really appreciate his opinion on it, and the challenge in order to like look into myself to find like what would he like from this kind of thing. It's really, really interesting. It's a cool dynamic shift. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and if you get past the vocals in metal, there's some really melodic stuff too, and a lot of people that I talk to, they say, yeah, I don't like the vocals, but and not from my band, but from different metal bands, and I don't like the vocals, but the music is really amazing, or like I really like the drums or guitars, or or the whole atmosphere, or
absolutely,
it's just the vocals that turns a lot of people who are not into the genre off, I think.
Yeah, for sure. You're taking the words right out of his mouth. He says the music is great. He just can't get past the screaming or the gutturals or whatever the case may be. So I have an idea of how I'm going to ease him into maybe getting used to that on the show coming up, but I'm getting some cool ideas. You guys will obviously be on the playlist because it's not super screamy, barky stuff, and he'll be able to take that in. The overall theme of Bionic Swarm was really interesting to me, especially in an age where technology is, or in a world situation, COVID, technology being, taking off in crazy ways in order to connect with people and also disassociate from what is actually going on in front of you. In a couple of interviews, you had mentioned that the importance of like disconnecting from all that shit and sort of resetting yourself, whether it's a place you go, or maybe it's something you read, or maybe it's the music that you have, you know what I mean? I personally like to practice that myself, especially when COVID was going down, and it's kind of stuck with me. One of the releases that I have is I'm fortunate enough to own some property on another side of Canada, like Eastern Canada, and every once or twice a year when it's time. Like when it's time, I go down there and there's no phones. It's like deep woods, riverbed, that kind of stuff. And it sort of just reminds me of who I am and what I'm supposed to be doing, and without any distractions. And you sort of jogged the idea that I wanted to ask of like I don't know where you live specifically out there, like if you are urban or like are you more rural? Do you have a means to reconnect with who you are, to get away from all that shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah, we are living obviously not in the big, what's big, Netherlands, but like we're not in Amsterdam or The Hague, like the bigger cities. We're more on the border with Germany.
Yeah, okay.
But we live in the city that's the biggest in our area. But it is like 200,000 people, or
Oh, no way.
really big. So yeah, that's not really a big city, I think, but it's also not small or rural. It's like there's a lot of problems here with drugs and stuff. So it has the city problems. But then we're really focused on what we're doing. And before I went to the studio, we got like 10 days to some kind of cabin in the woods, like an old farm.
Right.
That was totally changed to a studio. It had like 2 studio rooms, a control room, like some kind of venue, like with a stage and a bar.
Yeah.
And some place to sleep with like 20 people or so, like really quite big for my experience. And yeah, we just went there for 10 days, and we had internet and such, but yeah, we're only like playing music and maybe smoking some weed and just relax. And it's only the 3 of us, no girlfriends, and nobody else was there, just the 3 of us. And we really were focused on getting the album right, and just making sure that everybody was on the same frequency.
Sure.
And but we are always really good friends. Just whenever we are tour, it's just like a really good atmosphere. So it's also nice to hang out with some friends over there. And
yeah. Did you
I don't know, I think like when you live in for example, like really big cities, like New York or whatever, I think people living there, like it's like almost like torture to live in some kind of environment.
Yeah. You're talking to someone who just moved from a place where you're at right now to the city of Toronto, where the word torture is subjective, but like, holy shit. I come from bumpkin country, Nova Scotia, Canada, and I grew up on an island which is untouched, basically. Like there's places that still don't have internet down there, and having spent most of my adult life in the city of Halifax, and knowing that Toronto was like the next place I had to go go through whatever the next chapter of my life is. Turns out it was a good move. It's still very, very hard to climatize to what's going on here. It's extremely difficult to do that. The work is good. I mean, like my buddy Alan, who I was speaking about earlier, said, I've never been in a city with like 3 million people and feel alone. You know what I mean? It's easy to kind of lose yourself a little bit out here.
But what I mean is, like there's so much noise, traffic, like almost nobody knows each other, stuff like that, and it's I don't know, it's for me it feels kind of dystopic, to live in for example, I could never live in a city like Amsterdam.
No. Have you ever lived in a big city before?
No, actually, I have lived in Finland for some time, but it was like in a the area was as big as this, but it was like 10,000 people living there or so. It was like super rural. Not, like one supermarket and one pub. That's it.
Yeah.
But that was really nice, and that made me already realize that where I live now is quite a big city compared to that. And
for sure,
I don't feel the need to go and live in Berlin or Amsterdam, for example, for permanent.
Yeah, no, that's really nice to hear that. I'm glad you're finding reasons not to. Whereas like these days, like everyone finds reasons to get out of there, like myself included. Like I had to go. I was at a point in my life where I wasn't going to progress with what I do for work or what I do leisurely. Like there was no more growing potential. And coming from a town of like 2,500 people, going back there was not on the books for me. And staying in that city was either keep it going like that forever or, you know, introduce the challenge and change things up. So I did and came out here. But but
that's important, you know, to progress in life too, you know.
Yeah. It's really just a matter of perspective. I mean, like you saying that you don't want to move to a big city and there's no need to do that is still a way of improving your life. You know that it's going to be detrimental to yourself and what you do and your energy when you go to these places. At least I would think so, you know.
Yeah, but you can't say never, you know, like maybe there's some opportunities, you know, business wise or for music or whatever. But you know, a lot of my friends are living here, started families, you know, so they probably won't move. My family is here too. So for me, it's nice, but yeah, maybe I move someday, you know.
I mean, you never know what could happen. There could be there could be a Cryptosis moment where you're like, oh shit, we got to move if we're going to go next level or whatever the case may be. But it sounds like from where you guys are, like mentally and spiritually and physically, that it all seems to be working out rather well.
Yeah, but it's a really nice area here, you know, like super close to Germany. So you know, we have the best place in the Netherlands to live for concerts, for example. We have to drive 2 hours. We're in Amsterdam, but we also have, you know, we drive 2-3 hours the other way, and we're like in the middle of Germany. Sure. So we have a really big area to play concerts, you know, and that's easy reachable from our homes. But if you're living on the other side of the Netherlands, you know, you have to drive like so many hours. And maybe for somebody in Canada, it sounds a bit silly, you know, driving 2 hours is long, but for Dutch people, like 2 hours is killing, you know. Yeah.
It depends on who you ask over here, man. To get from one end of Canada to the other, driving nonstop is about a week. Yeah. We
do it. We can do it in 1 day.
That sounds really, really nice. Actually, I've never done the drive coast to coast Canada. I'd like to one day, but again, like, getting in the car and driving 3-4 hours to go somewhere is nothing. You know what I mean? And especially having grown up in the woods where there were no neighbors, that was just a fact of life. So I'm a little bit desensitized to that.
Yeah, but you know, in the Netherlands, like every 20 kilometers is a town, you know, or a city or whatever. So there's I think 17 million people living here in this country, but the country is like super small, you know, like I think we have so many people living here. If you compare it to other European countries. So, you know, we're not used to travel far and do all that stuff, you know.
Sure. Do you find yourself leaving the country for other than for like musical means, like any personal ventures? Like do you like, I mean, you guys are your location to me would be very cool to, like, you know, you can just jump to Germany, you can go here and here and here. Like, do you find time for yourself to do that on your own personal level as opposed to going out with the band?
We do it a lot with the band, and you know, I live my life the way that I don't need a holiday from it. You know, I just try to do only cool stuff, and you know, I think, you know, people who need holidays, you know, they are too stressed out on their job. You know, but if you know, for today, for example, it's a nice weather. I'm just, you know, I was supposed to be working today. I'm working freelance as a graphic designer.
I meant to ask you about that.
I'm seeing a sun, you know, fuck it. I'm going and take my mountain bike, and I'm just going to ride, and, you know, maybe tonight I work, maybe tomorrow, you know. I think, you know, when you have this mindset, it really makes your life a lot easier than, you know, work from paycheck to paycheck.
Oh, absolutely, man. You sound like a very centered person. Right on.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, you know, I don't want to make my life harder than necessary, you know, and try to enjoy every day.
Yeah, no, likewise. You know, unfortunately, I do have to work, not necessarily paycheck to paycheck these days, but I do really enjoy what I do. I'm good at what I do. It's super entertaining. I work in film and theater, and
that's amazing.
Yeah, I love it. And in moving to Toronto, they pay well. So aside from the monetary side of things, it really does open doors to invest in myself, like with this thing this new YouTube venture and the radio show and talking to bands and stuff. And like I'm central. There's so much to explore now in this country and in this province. And it really does lighten the soul. You know what I mean? There's just more options. There's no more. I don't dread going to work. I look forward to doing these shows. I like just. Yeah, I hear you, man. Like it's a great way to look. It's a great approach to life, and I'm glad that like someone such as yourself shares that sort of opinion. It's it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to find these days.
Yeah, but I don't see my work as work. It's just like a hobby that got a bit out of hand. And every day that you have to work on stuff, it's just fun to do. And I have as much as fun playing music as to making some cool stuff with Photoshop.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, okay. Since you had mentioned that, like freelance graphic design, you had mentioned that in the Instagram chats. Like, what kind of graphic design do you do? You're
basically everything that you can imagine for graphic design. Like I'm working on album covers, social media campaigns, but that's more on the music side. But I also do websites for corporate, print. I'm working together with a photographer, and we do all kind of creative work. Basically, I used to work with a developer, and we made some, website, web shop stuff. But I don't like that kind of work so much. So I just I'm not doing that as much as we used to do.
Oh yeah,
basically everything that you can imagine to design. Sometimes a new brand, sometimes a concept for, like a product, or sometimes a logo with everything, that's that comes along with it, for print, for merchandise, for signing, just a rebrand of companies.
Is it still imagery only, or do you tinker around with like video rendering or anything like that?
Yeah. Also video animations as well. But it's not like the big ones, but smaller stuff, like animated logos, social media, visuals.
Cool.
That's that are animated stuff like that. Yeah.
Did you pick up that skill set on your own as well as did you pick up that skill set like through school, or did you just dive right into it, or anything like that kind of thing?
No, I was in art school when I was a bit younger. Then started working for some agencies here in the Netherlands, but I thought I can do it myself better.
Yep.
So I just started to do that, and I think when the pandemic started, I just thought like, how can I use this time? And I just learned animating stuff, like the whole video part of designing. I wasn't really familiar with that, but I just started learning it, and 2 years later, I think I can say that I can quite,
you can pull it off.
Yeah,
good for you, man. I'd love to check some stuff out. I'm actually in the market for someone who does that kind of thing. I just started also as well during the pandemic, tinkering around with like video stuff. Like I'm an audio guy, but like a bit like, and if I'm doing this show kind of thing, like I make my own videos and stuff like that. And then I purchased DaVinci Resolve, and like it's fun and great, but I don't have the computing power to render anything substantial, and B, also in the market for that kind of stuff. So I'd be interested in like if you got a portfolio that you would want to put out there, send me a link or something like after this interview, and I'll put it in the descriptions, man.
Yeah, I can send you some stuff.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Speaking of like new skills and tinkering around and that kind of thing, being an audio person, audio is one of the things that I went to school for, like way back in the day, and still kind of mess about with to this day, is like screwing around with like sounds in order to like get things to do what they typically shouldn't do. You had said again in another previous interview that there was like a melodyne or some sort of mellotron that you had discovered, which totally opened up some new type sound stuff. I like to mess around with VSTs and like getting like say compression to like throb a certain way that goes with like the beats per minute, and it just produces some hilarious results. And like it's even better that you just don't even know they're coming. You're like, oh, what was that setting? You know what I mean? And then you save that, and then you can kind of put that together. I admire the approach to being adventurous in that regard. And I kind of wanted to ask, like, is there any other kind of like secrets in there somewhere that you'd be willing to share in terms of how it worked its way into, they might have worked their way into like the Cryptosis sound, or is this like locked in a vault and too bad for anyone else?
No. It's just the creative experiments, you know. Sometimes you get lucky and you get something that's really cool. Sometimes you get stuff that's maybe sounds cool, but the next day not so much anymore. It's just a matter of luck in our case. And actually, what you described, like with playing around with these VSTs and you know, like getting some crazy sounds, we are actually incorporating that with a new album, much more than we did on the Bionic Swarm.
Great,
so
love
we're
to hear
really
that.
curious about that, you know, like how this will work out for us. For us, it's also new territory. We have never done this kind of stuff before, so it's you know, it's a new experience too. So we're not really such skillful musicians with that when it comes to that kind of stuff, you know. But we're learning, and we have sometimes we get help from a really good producer here who giving us very nice tips.
Yeah. Sometimes skill doesn't have much to do with something sounding good. There's also like, you know, happy accidents. There's a thing, you know what I mean? Yeah. And just going into uncharted waters. It's cool to hear that there's a new album in the mix. I really like that. Are you guys still writing, or you got any demos coming out?
No. We're in the beginning of writing phase. We got like maybe 2 songs ready, but you know, it's not enough to already start talking about a new album. I think, of course we're working on it, but I think it's too soon to say we are coming up with a new album. You know, like we're only going to record it when the 3 of us feel it's perfect, and let's go for it. And not
awesome
like the other way around, that they say, okay, June is a new album coming. How far is the songwriting? You know.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for us like that. We need more time, and you can clearly hear it in the music. And that's what we want to do. You know, like we want to release quality stuff and not quantity.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm sure whenever the next one comes out, it's going to be more of that quality stuff, most definitely. Yeah. So, are you guys finding yourself looking into other continents in terms of touring? We'd love to see you down Canada way.
We got actually signed by AMG, Atomic Music Group from United States. They represent a ton of artists, also Vivot. So we have been talking already for, I think, 3 times to tour the United States and Canada. But so far, we don't have any fixed tour schedule. But every time, you know, they try to ask us, or, you know, to join. For example, we were asked to join Obscura, Vivot, some really cool bands already. But yeah, it didn't work out so far. Also with the pandemic, you know, wasn't really, you know, I was under the impression that in Europe we were a little bit you know, more upfront with opening up than United States. So for us, you know, for us it's quite far away, so we don't really know what's going on there locally. But we really hope to come over.
Yeah. Well, hey, good things come to those who wait, man. Toronto has been a massive hotspot for really cool bands to come through. Having come from, again, like an area of Canada where like nobody stops like at all, moving into Toronto was definitely like a shock to the senses in terms of like just the caliber of exactly. Like as soon as I got here and it was like we had the okay to go out, like I went and saw a bunch of shit. Amorphous was down here, and I'm a big fan of them. I saw Symphony X last month, and I've been listening to them since I was a teenager.
Man, they're one of our favorite bands.
Symphony X is fucking Michael Romeo. He doesn't make mistakes, man. He just stands there and just rips that place in two. And it was like, I've always, like, for 20 years, I've wanted to see him do that. And I did. And it was like, what the fuck? That was so good.
Yeah, I see them like 3 times, like maybe 15 years ago, and before the pandemic twice. Man, they are so insane. But everything is great about the band, like vocals, drums, guitar, bass. Man,
it is a tight monster for sure. And like they're one of the few bands too where like the new stuff is like they keep getting better. Like they don't put shit out like from like Olympus and V5 up to like, you know, what just came out now. Like it's constantly piles of quality. I just can't get enough of it. Leprous was another one that I saw who came down, and I've been wanting to check those guys out for quite a while, and their stage presence is unreal.
Yeah, I'm hearing quite a few good talks about this band. I only know them from Spotify, but yeah, they're quite good. But I don't know how they're live, but it seems to be great. Yeah.
Well, should you ever get an opportunity, I highly recommend checking them out. But I'm really happy that like times these days are allowing for bands to like finally hit the stage. Like there's a lot of local bands in Toronto, way more than I ever thought there would be in terms of like the metal scene that are doing stuff. In July, there's a gang of stuff. My birthday weekend's coming up in a couple of weeks. And it just so happens that on that weekend there's a couple of bands around here that I'm going to be checking out. So it's going to be a very good happy birthday to me kind of thing. Looking forward to doing that. It's just nowadays it seems to be that like the time for really good music, whether it's being put out physically or on stage physically, like I think like we were saying at the beginning of the sit down that like, you know, the timing seems right. It's just where we sit for like quality enjoyment of this particular nature of entertainment is really starting to happen. And I think it's going to be carrying on for a long time, man. I really, really do. Pending that there isn't another outbreak of some craziness, but like, should the world behave?
You never know, but let's hope for not.
Yeah, I know. I'm a born optimist. You know, I wash my hands and do my part. And I just want to live my life nice and happy like everybody else. And if you do it that way, it attracts more good energy and more good things. Yeah. Like hopefully that translates over to music as a whole. We shall see.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Listen, man. Thank you so much for chatting with me. Like it's been like it's nice to know that you're like there's some similarities between you and I. You're a very well-adjusted, centered person. You're awesome to talk to. I hope that everything goes well for you with you and your ventures. And I will be keeping my ear to the ground should you guys come to Canada, and I will be front row center if that fucking happens.
Very nice. Thank you for talking. It was really great. And you know, if we happen to come over, just write us a meal, and maybe we can have a drink, or put you on the guest list, whatever.
Yeah, well, that would be really sweet. Thank you for the offer. Yeah, I'll be in touch for sure, man. Thank you so much. Cool. And hey, send me your portfolio link to your freelance and stuff. I'll again put it in the descriptions and stuff. Yeah.
Cool.
All right, man. Listen, take care of yourself, man. Thanks again.
Have a nice day.
Yeah, you too, brother.
Bye.
Bye. That was an awesome conversation. Frank is a really genuine dude, and I couldn't have been more happier with the way that went. I really hope you guys enjoyed that. Cryptosis, man, you really got to check that stuff out. It is very, very, very cool music. These guys are signed to Century Media Records, so their stuff is widely available. Do yourself a favor and check out their Instagrams, the Facebooks, the Bandcamps. Buy Bionic Swarm. Buy it and enjoy yourselves a massive upgrade to your metal collection. Yes. While you're at it, show Evisceradio some love, please. Check out my Instagram, the Facebook. I got Twitter going. Give this channel a thumbs, a like, a subscribe. Hit the notification bell dingy because I'm going to be releasing new tidbits as to what's going to be coming up down the road. I've got some great interviews lined up in the next couple of weeks. Actually, in the next couple of months. I would hate for you guys to miss out. If you haven't already, be sure to check out the previous interviews that I have. I've got Vakenfeld. I've got Fractal Generator. I just did Gut Slit. Cryptosis is now in the books. This is a guaranteed, genuine genuine YouTube channel, doing genuine interviews with genuine people. You genuinely don't want to miss the material that I'm going to be releasing on this site. And I hope to see you on the next one. Yeah.
Evisceradio.